Well, welcome back. We are back from a little bit of hiatus, a little vacation, a little summer. And our first podcast for this new couple of weeks of summer, we have the one and only, our mayor from the City of Coral Gables, Vince Lago. Mayor Lago.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Welcome.
It's been a long time coming.
Welcome.
Listen, I'm blessed to be on the show. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. Let me tell you, the podcast is getting a lot of traction, especially here in the City of Coral Gables.
I try. I have a
lot of people who come to me and say, listen, they've had other elected officials, they've had members of the community. When are they going to have you on the show, knowing that obviously your offices are located in the City Beautiful?
Well, but wait, we got to say,
correct.
Let's correct something. You have been
the real fans.
We started because, let's go back. We started this in the studios, in our other old studios, when we were linked. We're not going to say with the radio station. We're going to not with them anymore, but
didn't work out.
It not because of us. I mean,
no, because of us.
That's on disarray over there. So then basically we said, okay, you know what? We got to control our narrative, and plus a lot of our guests didn't want to drive all the way over there. So we are now in the studios on the Gables, but you were not number one. You were the second one that we had in the Day in Miami podcast.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm just happy the fact that we're doing it here in the City Beautiful.
Yes,
100%.
Yes. Now you're the first in the City of Coral Gables and the City of Coral Gables.
He was the first one that we put up. We started a new theme now because we had, as you know, Francis Suarez on, and people thought that this was 60 minutes, and they were saying that we're asking softball questions. So now we said, let's put it to the public.
Yeah.
We're giving them the opportunity to ask questions now.
Yeah.
So we have a list of questions here, and we'll start with those later. But we're trying to be as transparent, and at the end of the day, this is just a conversation that we want to, get more information for the community out there.
Well, so if I may,
go ahead.
Just to answer your statement. First off, I welcome any question that you want to ask. Anything at all. One of the things that we've been doing that I think sets us apart from any other elected official in Miami-Dade County is the fact that for the last 11 years, we've been having open office hours every single Friday.
Nobody does that.
11 years. So if anybody wants to visit me on Fridays, you can see me in my office at 2 o'clock. You don't need an appointment. You're going to see me. There's probably, sometimes 20, 30, 40 people that show up. Sometimes we have 5 people. It all depends on the schedule and if there's a lot of issues happening in the city. But a lot of people can hide behind an email. They can hide behind a phone call. They can hide behind a secretary. They can hide behind staff. Every Friday, starting at 2 o'clock and ending around 5, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Sometimes we've been there till 8 o'clock at night, depending on how many people show up.
Yeah.
We see everybody. And it's a great opportunity to always stay grounded and stay connected to the residents.
I have a quick question because I've always wondered this, and I haven't had a chance to ask you this. And I know, and I monitor your social media, and I know that you're a big proponent of this.
This is the clip that's going to come out.
No, this is not.
Go ahead.
This is not a clip. This is out of pure curiosity. What are the top 5? I know if you're meeting with a lot of people all day, there's how many people are in the City of Beautiful?
51,000.
51,000. What are the top usually concerns that are they serious things, or is it mainly silly things that you get from the community?
Any issue that a resident comes and brings us is serious at the end of the day. And I know that sounds very cliche and ridiculous, but it's the truth.
100%.
If you take the time to reach out to me and you have a problem, no matter which way, I always tell residents the same thing. I was dealing with a gentleman today who had a concern about a sidewalk. I told him, listen, I'm going to connect staff and let's meet on site in front of your residents because I want to understand what the issue is. He sent us pictures, and I said, listen, but I want you to understand something. It's not only about addressing that sidewalk. It's about addressing the other issues that are happening in the community. So let's get together. So any issue that a resident brings or a business brings to my attention, it's important.
It's never too big or never too small.
It's never too big or never too small.
Correct.
So the biggest issue that people have are issues, for example, speeding. We've been working over the last 5 years to install traffic calming throughout the city. That's something that I'm very proud of. We spend almost $2 million a year in infrastructure to put speed tables throughout the city. We have 198 entrances throughout the City of Coral Gables. We're in the center of Miami-Dade County, basically. Mm-hmm. So we can't stop people from coming into the City of Coral Gables, but what we can do is slow them down. We want it to be a pleasant experience because we have inadequate infrastructure throughout Miami-Dade County, and that's something that I mentioned a lot of times while I served on the TPO. And so what ends up happening is that a lot of people are using our street for to basically cross through
100%.
as cut through traffic.
Yep.
So everyone is welcome to the city, but we want to do is just slow them down so that people don't get injured, so there's no accidents, and so that the neighborhoods are truly protected, and the quality of life is something that continues to be a strong point here in the city.
I think that that's such a great subject. We just dove into.
That's what I love. Is that he's a
but
wealth
the
of
fact
knowledge.
is that is such a great subject because really, listen, I'm the first one that cuts.
You have no choice. You have no choice.
I have no choice. I mean, I'm everywhere, and I live in the South Miami area. And I am the same way. What you're saying, I think is perfect. And I think that that's something. I'd be okay with the fact of the little, those speeding things that if you're, what is that, give you a ticket? I mean, California has that, by the way.
Well, right now, I just met with a company this week who's doing some pretty interesting things, as installing speed cameras in school neighborhoods.
And on buses, by the way.
And I think, in my opinion, I mean, some people don't like those cameras, and I understand it's a little bit invasive. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think in school districts, in school areas, I think it's appropriate. Yeah. Because if we can make those areas more safe, I think, in my opinion, it's a win-win for everybody.
I agree.
Another thing that we address too is permits. People call all the time about permits, and sometimes it's really simple. You just tweak the issue and you address it. But at the end of the day, Coral Gables has very, very high standards. So we require certain reviews that other cities don't require. For example, like a Board of Architecture.
Correct.
So, really it's permitting, it's traffic calming, it's sidewalks, it's bicycles, it's issues of just beautification, in regards to I want a tree in my neighborhood. We're blessed to have some of the best police and firefighters and general employees in Miami-Dade County. We really don't have a crime issue here in the city. Beautiful. Crime continues to go down, and it's a testament to our employees and to the fact that we've given them all the necessary tools to do a great job.
Eddie, we got a question on that.
Yeah.
We got a question on the police.
First, huge kudos. This is one of the prettiest cities that I've ever been to around the world.
You're welcome.
And all of you guys have traveled.
No, you're welcome.
A lot. We're very well-traveled people. And I don't say that just because you're here. When we live in it and we experience it every day,
we take it for granted sometimes.
We definitely do.
I brought him over. I brought him over to the Coral Gables.
I came from the hood, just so you guys know.
I showed him the light.
I got adopted by Manny Alfonso.
I showed him the light.
So talking about first safety, I know that one of the questions we had from the public was that there's been a mass exodus. I don't know if that's the right term. I don't know how many have left of police officers in the city. Is there a reason for that, or what are you trying to do to fix that if you haven't done so already?
So listen, I support the police and the firefighters, but at the end of the day, it's like what happens. This is politics. You have the unions, you have individuals engaged in the unions that they're tasked with representing the police officers. Again, we've had police officers leave. We also have a union that's been very vocal in pushing police officers out, in trying to get them out here as much as possible. But what we've done, for the first time in a long time, we just got a brand new police contract, which is very robust in nature, increased pace significantly. Now we're within the top 10 police departments in Miami-Dade County. But there's also a little bit of a different scenario. We have the best infrastructure, the best buildings for our police department. We offer them the best tools. And also, it's a blessing to work in the city. Not only represent the city as the mayor, but also it's a blessing to be an employee here, because you're dealing with individuals like yourselves. You're dealing with individuals who are here to conduct business, who really respect the police, who really back the blue, back our firefighters, and go out of their way to make sure that those people are beloved. So when we talk about what we're doing for police and fire, something that I'm very proud of, that I take pride in, is that 4 years ago, if my mind sets me correct, we hadn't increased the amount of police and firefighters in almost 10 or 15 years. What we did in the last commission was we added an additional 15 police officers and 15 firefighters. And the point of that was to increase our fire stations from 3 to 4, which right now we're building one on Sunset.
Oh, I don't know.
Which is a $12 million new facility that we got funded a portion of it through Tallahassee, through our representatives and senators in Tallahassee.
But I have a quick question here. This might sound dumb. I don't feel like there's a lot of fires in the city. Is there a need to have so many firefighters?
Again, there's a code. There's a code requirement. Gotcha. But at the end of the day, you also have to understand our firefighters are the best equipped. They're the best trained. We have the highest standards of any police department or fire department in Miami-Dade County. But you ask why there isn't that many fires. You know why?
Buildings.
You're talking about new buildings. You're talking about a fire code. You're talking about a construction code. That's what I do for a living.
Gotcha.
My background is in engineering and construction management. So what you see is a construction code here in South Florida and throughout the state of Florida, which is, again, you're talking about buildings that are not made of wood. They're built of solid concrete.
That's good.
They have fire retardant materials. They have 1 and 2 hour and 3 hour requirements in regards to fire limitations. You have insulation. You have a lot of different things now that when the fire department gets on site, the damage is limited, not only because of the code, but also because of the great work that our fire department does in representing the city.
My question to you to finish that little topic there.
So, fire sprinklers, fire suppression. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things.
All the buildings are equipped.
I get that. But so if you have 4 fire stations.
Yes.
And how many firefighters?
Right now we have over 160.
What do they do all day? Like, are they're
No, listen, but
what else is part of their tasks?
And I tell residents all the time when they tell me the same question, which is not that often, but they tell me the same thing. What do the firefighters do during the day?
Just curious.
You want to have those firefighters ready at the call just in case something happens, because it's not only about fighting fires, it's about EMS response. So you're talking about a person who has a heart attack, an elderly person that falls and breaks their hip, a person who's in a car accident. The firefighters are the first on the scene in regards to a critical issue.
And just to add to that, I mean, if you're going to look into that, you're going to look into New York. I mean, New York's buildings are all to 100% code and everything, and never knew 9/11 was going to happen.
And by the way,
and you had all the firefighters there right there ready to go, and risk their lives, and how many lost trying to save people.
Yeah.
And if I may add something to that point, you asked me, why do the amount of firefighters? So it's all about response time in regards to police and fire. The faster you have your response times, the better. The better on multiple fronts. If it's the police, we want to make sure they get there quick, because at the end of the day, you could avert a catastrophe. And the same thing with the firefighters. Every second counts when you're trying to save somebody's life.
Good point.
So whether this is something that's been a hot topic in the past where I voted against. I just voted against fire pension, fire negotiations. I just voted in favor of the police. It's not personal. It's not personal at all. I have a deep respect for the police and the firefighters in this community. But at the end of the day, I'm tasked with representing the entire community as a whole.
That's a good point.
You have to.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, this is my biggest issue right now that's going on. I keep on saying, I come back, I look at the sense of Coral Gables. Coral Gables has always been such a, beautiful place to live, to work. Always been such a calm city, I've always been seeing the fact of like things going on maybe in the county, things going on maybe in city of Miami, all this stuff. What the hell is going on in the city of Coral Gables that now all of a sudden the city of Coral Gables is in every freaking news thing? What the hell is going on in the city of Coral Gables that every day there's another news, there's another article, turmoil in the city of Coral Gables, this going on in the city of Coral Gables, this going on in the city. I mean, what happened? Did somebody just come and, as the Cubans say, did somebody throw ñeque on city of Coral Gables to like Aborotan? What happened? What the hell is going on? Why is there so much? Why are we in the news lately?
Major discourse.
What's going on? You can explain to us. You that are the mayor of Coral Gables. What the hell is going on in Coral Gables that is in the spotlight right now?
So this is the great thing about your podcast. We answer questions and we talk about real issues. We're not trying to sugarcoat issues. So if you want the truth, I'll give you the truth. There was an election where the two individuals that I supported did not win. They were incredibly competent, credible people, and two other individuals won for those positions.
But this election was when, like a little past?
It was a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And I congratulated them and I wish them the best. It's a very simple and fundamental difference of opinion and of belief in regards to what I think is in the best interest of the city of Coral Gables. I'm a believer that we should lower taxes. For example, at the last budget hearing, I only received one vote in support from Vice Mayor Rhonda Anderson, who supported me in lowering taxes. I'm also a believer in that we should have elections in November.
Okay, but wait, let's take one at a time. So there was a vote coming up for lowering taxes?
Yeah, we have to set our millage rate.
Okay.
And right now we have the second lowest.
And I want people to, to understand that.
So we have the second lowest millage rate for a full-service city in Miami-Dade County.
Right.
I think after almost a 20% increase in our property values in the last 2 years, I think we should lower taxes. I tried to do it last year. They blocked me. And then this year, I'm trying to do it again with a simple 2% reduction in the millage rate, which I think is something that would benefit especially a lot of the elderly people in our community who are retired, the disabled, people who have served this country as military. A simple 2% reduction in the millage rate will go a long way for those individuals.
So let me ask you,
and that was blocked 3-2.
You proposed to lower taxes.
Yes.
I think this is a first for me that usually you get with the politician that says, I'm proposing to lower taxes versus people say, we have to raise taxes for more services. So you proposed to lower taxes, but then it was voted down.
It was voted down 3-2.
Is there an explanation?
That's what I say. Is there a reason why?
Well, I mean,
competent reason why that makes sense.
Our budget is depending on the year, it fluctuates up and down due to the amount of capital projects that we do. We're talking about a $275 million budget. A 2% reduction in the millage rate would be about $2.6 million. As a person in the private sector who owns businesses in the private sector, I always try to tighten my belt and try to be as streamlined as possible and as efficient as possible. If in our budget we can now find $2.6 million to lower costs and to be more efficient and to give back to our community, to the most needy, to those individuals who, for example, are retired, are living on Social Security, are living on pensions.
Which is a lot in the
Which a lot. Yeah. So everything is going up. Electricity costs have gone up. Your insurance have gone up 30 to 40%. The water has gone up. You know, your taxes continue to go up. Even if you're homesteaded, it goes up by 3%. So I'm just saying, listen, let's get back to those individuals. I tried last year, and in the last 2 years, we've had almost a 20% increase in property values. What they say to scare the residents, to scare people, no, because services are going to suffer. Services are not going to suffer. I know that we can find the monies to lower taxes by $2.6 million. What I find most egregious, and I know a lot of you have spoken about it, is I would never dare in 10 years of being a public servant, the first 10 years of considering to raise my own salary. The three individuals on the commission, Commissioner Ariel Fernandez, Commissioner Melissa Castro, and Commissioner Kirk Menendez, who served with me for a few years before, raised their salaries by 102%. Crazy. And then you're not willing to lower taxes, but you're willing to raise your salary by putting it in the budget. I said, I don't have a problem with raising your salary at all. Well, if and when we go through a transparent process, the residents can discuss it, and then I believe it should be, and then I believe it should be put up. It should be put up for consideration in a vote in the August election, November election, and that to me never happened. It just got snubbed into the budget, and that's why I voted no on last year's budget.
Right, but
that's why the firefighters. And going back to the firefighters question, the firefighters said that I voted against their contract. The reason why I voted against their contract was because I was voting against a 102% salary increase that three commissioners on this commission snuck into the budget, and Rhonda Anderson and myself voted against.
Right. This is like one of those trick questions, you know, when people say you're voting for amendments and, you know, the yes is no,
of course.
And the no is yes, you know, that you really got to read the stuff. But that I just don't understand. How, I'm going to tell you right now, me coming from the past from the county, there was no way any commissioners can raise your salaries. At the end of the day, you have to go to the voter. The voter is the person that can determine if I feel that you should get because you work for me. So I feel that I have to vote yes or no if you should get a salary increase.
You know what's crazy? Most voters.
So I guess at the end of the day, that never went out to the City of Coral Gables.
And
how did the City of Coral Gables residents take that? So
again, there's been an outcrying in opposition stating that again is not in the best interest of the residents. Many similar things have happened like that over the last year and a half, and that's why it goes back to the simple fact like you mentioned. Why is there strife? Why is there discourse? Why is there disagreement on the commission for the first time? Because, in my opinion, we have individuals that are not putting the residents and the city first. They're putting themselves first. And you can't. And by the way, and I think what's important is that when you're in the business world and when you have employees and when you actually have gone out there and performed and have to, you have to make payroll every 2 weeks and you have to go out there and run a business, you have a real sense of respect for every dollar. You understand what it costs.
100%.
So this city, as mayor, I've always run this city, and before me, it was Mayor Raul Valdez-Fowley, it was Jim Kaysen, it was Don Selesnik, it was Dorothy Thompson. We were always very careful about the city's reputation, how people perceived us, and always protected the residents and this city.
That's why my original question said, what the hell is going on in Coral Gables?
So question, did they get approved for the raise?
They did.
Oh, wow.
They did because the budget passed 3-2, and it was included in the budget.
Well, listen, Can
I give myself a raise?
I don't think there could be anybody that could be listening to this or viewing this can say, who the hell are you to give yourself a pay increase without coming to the voter and asking the voter? I think not only in the Gables, I think in any municipality.
But you know what's crazy?
It should be that it should go out to the residents.
If you would have gone and asked the voter, I think the voters would have probably said yes.
Listen, I'm not saying that's not the case. You're probably right. But what the voters are upset about is the process.
Correct.
There should have been a transparent, just like with the firing of the city manager.
Which was one of the questions that we had from Instagram. Peter Iglesias was removed from city manager at his spot. Somebody was asking, how did that happen? Why did that happen? What's the background on that?
Look, we have a lot of questions, and I want to make sure we get to all of them, but this is a simple one. I've had the privilege of serving with Peter for many years, not only when he was city manager, but when he was assistant city manager, and also when he was the building official in the city of Miami. So in my personal capacity, I've dealt with Peter in the city of Miami when I used to go there for my clients and different things when I was working on projects and designing projects and building projects. So I always had a lot of respect for Peter. Peter was an individual, brilliant engineer, a person who was very conscious of the business community and the residents and understood that there was no gray. It was black and white, not your most, he's not a politician. He was a person serving at the will of the commission, but always put the city first. He's a resident. What happened there was very simple. He was fired in the commission meeting with no cause, and they brought in a new city manager from the stands. And we, for the first time that I've ever known it, and I've spoken to every elected official who's alive, and I've asked them questions about how we handled the hiring of a new city manager. And I've done that for 3 separate occasions before this gentleman. And we always went through a transparent process, which was hiring a national firm, which looked through the entire United States and even internationally, if we found somebody who was competent and capable. And we brought all these candidates in, and they were vetted by a board that was put together of professionals, of community individuals who gave their opinion in regards to who was the final 3, the final 4, the final 5, and then those individuals were introduced to the community. And then we, as a commission, transparently chose that individual on the commission floor. Yeah. That's the way we've always done it. This was done 3-2 again, where Rhonda Anderson and I opposed. Our new commissioner was hired in the middle of a commission meeting. No background check, no resume. And the interesting thing about it was that he was given a $300,000 salary, which Commissioner Fernandez harped on continuously when he was in his blog, Gables Insider, that Peter Iglesias was being paid too much. Peter Iglesias is a professional, a licensed engineer, one of the most respected professionals in South Florida, if not in the state of Florida. And to me, now we hire somebody right out of the commission meeting, a person who is not vetted, a person who I've never spoken to, or a resume, or even seen a resume or seen a background check, and now that individual in the middle of a meeting becomes our city manager. But I just want to leave you with this. I spoke to a lot of elected officials and city managers throughout Miami-Dade County and through Broward.
Obviously,
who called me and they said, "Listen, we've never seen anything quite like that." And it's all about control. It's all about controlling the narrative and not putting what's in the best interest of the community first. And that, to me, is what sets us apart today from the past. We had disagreements. I had disagreements in regards to policy with previous elected officials. But at the end of the day, it was about policy. We always put the city first.
Yeah.
And these type of actions, do not shine a good light on the city.
So I remember when they brought him in, the city manager, we actually posted that viral video. But for the people who don't know what a city manager is or the importance of having a good city manager, what is their day-to-day, or what are they in charge of?
Okay, so the city manager is in charge of the entire city.
The whole city.
Over 1,000 employees. Yeah. The City of Coral Gables, the commission and the mayor, the commission as a whole, is only in charge of 3 people.
Okay.
And that is the manager, the city attorney, and the city clerk. And we have to vote, and we have to get 3 votes to remove one of those 3 individuals. I cannot give a directive to the city manager, to any employee in the City of Coral Gables without consultation of the city manager.
Wow.
So he has an extreme amount of power, and that's why you look for people who are qualified, who have been in municipal government. This individual has never been in municipal government. This individual is
the learning curve
the learning curve is extensive.
Yeah, so
it's extensive, and it hurts the city.
Yeah, of course.
But again, here's my same thing again. I do not understand how the city residents of Coral Gables have stood for this.
They haven't. So the thing is that the only way to address this is in the ballot box, because
100%.
Because for 98 years, and we're celebrating our centennial next year.
Oh, we have that question.
You would never see this type of behavior because people were afraid of embarrassing themselves. Yeah. Or embarrassing the previous elected officials that they are honored to serve with. Correct. There's a level of respect and dignity of being an elected official in the city of Coral Gables.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is a question I get from a lot of people. People go, "Oh, how do you change? You got to be involved. Yeah. You as a resident have to be involved. And at the same time, you let these things happen. How are you just going to go ahead and get somebody that is going to manage? What's the budget of the city of Coral Gables?
Depending between $275 to $300 million.
Could you imagine, that you're going to get just somebody and not be through a process? I mean, even when you go for a job, you first meet this person, and then you go to the next person, and then, the director or the president say, "Okay, who do you like? Let me interview."
I'm going to give you an example, if I may.
I mean, it's just crazy to me.
I'm going to give you an example. I've spoken to a lot of employees that have called me, and they've told me, Vince, it's demoralizing for us because we've we've all studied, we've gotten college degrees, we've got our master's.
There's a chance.
We've gone through the process. We've been here 5, 10, 15, 20 years, waiting for our position, for our time to be a director, waiting for our time to be an assistant director.
Which that's what everybody strives
to be in a position to move up. And, someone who has no municipal experience, doesn't have a college degree,
that's crazy.
Basically jumps the line in the middle of a commission meeting, and there isn't even a background check that's done. So let me explain to you why that also doesn't make much sense. If you apply for a job, let's, for example, as simple as a summer internship here, whether it's at the Venetian Pool or it's at the country club, we do a background check. We ask for your resume. We do an interview process. We want to make sure the people that we're bringing into the city, uphold a certain standard here. Just like any other municipality, we're no different. We got to make sure these people are capable. They're carrying the city's name on their shirt. They're going to be dealing with residents. They're going to be dealing with visitors. They're going to be dealing with business owners. They're going to be interacting with people. So to me, I think, when you talk about a situation like this, it's all about control. But at the end of the day, it only hurts the city's cachet, the city's credibility. And the amount of calls from other city managers and elected officials that I receive on a continual basis, to me, really solidified that I made the right decision in opposing, the naming of this individual.
So we hang out with a lot of businesses, especially on Miracle Mile, and I have had real concerns of people feeling like this is going to turn into like San Francisco, California type of approach like that,
Listen, it's not going to. At the end of the day, we're
like more liberal policies that are coming
in my opinion, I consider myself pretty socially liberal, but when it comes to fiscal issues, when it comes to the police, the firefighters, cleanliness, things about our downtown, who we are as a community, I'm very conservative on that front. I will always abide by the law, and I'll make sure that we put our residents and our business community first. At the end of the day, we need to be firm in who we are. How did we get here? For 98 years, it worked. We've been that shining city on a hill, and I want to make sure that we continue to be that city that everybody aspires to be.
Well, I just think that really my biggest thing is I think the residents of Coral Gables have to be a little bit more vigilant about the situation, and you get what you vote for. So I really think that, the City of Coral Gables residents have to go out there and say, wait. I have to. How do we change this? Because I'm in South Miami. And in South Miami, I didn't like the politics in South Miami. I got involved. I started going to my neighbors and, do you like this? No. How do you do? What do you do? Well, let's complain about it. I mean, I just can't fathom the fact of how a commission can just raise their salaries. Again, I come from the background of politics. When we've taken that, when I was in the county, we took that to a ballot more than 7-8 times. The city of Dade County residents would always vote that down.
Wow.
Would always vote it down.
That makes sense.
Which I was always saying why, because there's a saying in Spanish for me, que pa exigir hay que pagar. So if you remember, each of these commissioners, and I can talk from experience, are part-time because they have jobs. They have to go and make a living somewhere. So then when I was in the county, people say, oh, but where's my commissioner? I go, he's working. What can we help you with? You have a problem. No, but where is he? He has to work. So I was always for the fact that you should get paid, but that should be your job. But the Dade County residents would always vote that down. But it would go to the residents. Every time the commission wanted to put something for salaries, they would take it to the people of Dade County. So again, on this one, I just don't understand how this was not able to go to the residents of City of Coral Gables.
The charter allows for elected officials to raise their salary by just including that raise in the budget. And again, I disagree wholeheartedly, and that's why I said that's why
the charter needs to be changed.
And by the way, right now there's a referendum. There's 3 referendums that are being signed by residents. One is to move elections to November, like 28 other cities in Miami-Dade County, which would
makes sense.
Which would save the city $200,000, and you would have 5 times more participation. By the way, those 3 elected officials, Eric Fernandez, Melissa Castro, and Kirk Menendez, they're not in favor of that. I don't have a problem going before more residents.
I like that.
That's number one. The second one is that any raises to a commissioner's or to the mayor's salary has to be ratified by the voters.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. That
100% makes sense.
And the third one is, something that I've worked on for a long time. When I got elected, we had less than $20 million in reserves. Now we have over $50 million in reserves.
Wow.
Which has been a big part of why over 5 years ago we received a triple bond rating. We're one of 3 cities in the state of Florida that have a triple bond rating.
And for cities, that's very important.
Standard & Poor's, Moody's, and Fitch. And what I've said now, and then that referendum, the third one, states that you cannot touch the reserves of the city without a 4/5 vote. Right now, it's a 3/5 vote. So the intent of that is to make it even more difficult to tap into that, because that's a rainy day fund. That served us well when there was a hurricane. We used that money to make sure we can clean up the city while we waited almost 5 or 6 years for the state of Florida to refund us.
And you know why I think it's so important? And Eddie and I have talked about this many times. You know why it's so important that I think that maybe it's good for that to happen and the people to vote for that should be a salary? That gives opportunity for other people to go and run for elected officials, and run. Because you say, how am I going to divide my time if you work a 9-to-5 job and then dedicate? Because this is dedication.
Listen, Fridays for 11 years. Fridays
for everybody. Any politician is dedication.
Well, I see him on the 2 phones.
Friday for 11 years. Fridays for 11 years. Open door Fridays. In April will be 12 years. I miss it once in a while. I go out of town. I have a business issue or something. But I can tell you that we've been there for over 80% of the time, making sure that we deliver on behalf of the residents. Because there's nothing more important than FaceTime with that resident, where you can't run away and you got to deal with that issue and make sure it gets addressed.
But again, I'm saying that should be like a Congress, like a Senate, like a president. You become a congressman, you become a senator, you got to put your stuff aside, and now you become a senator or a congressman, that you get your salary. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you work for that district. You work for the people that you represent. Yeah. And I think that happens, it should be voted by the people. But again, you just can't go ahead, start making decisions because, like in anything, you team up with people. This is your friend. This is your friend. Oh, vote for this, vote for that. No. Everything should be to we, the people. Yep. We, the people, should go out and we, the people, should say, hey, I vote for you to get a salary increase. Let me be the judge if you should get a salary increase. Let me be the judge if you guys should pay a new city manager a 20% increase. I mean, that's just crazy. When we, the people of the City of Coral Gables, are paying the taxes for all that situation.
Yeah. So,
crazy.
Moving on to something a little bit more lighthearted, I think you did a great job in helping assist bringing FIFA. I know you were a major proponent of that. We talked to Francis Suarez about that, to the city, and they have their headquarters here. Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little bit about that and kind of like if you could take us behind the scenes of how that worked out.
So I'll just give you like a quick synopsis of what happened with FIFA. It's not only FIFA, but it's also Apple and Ryder. In the last year, these 3 major companies have decided to come to the City of Coral Gables, and I have a little rivalry with Francis and the city of Miami and every other city, because I want to make sure that we bring these world class businesses to the city beautiful. We have over 20 consulates in the city. That's very important for us as a driving force.
I didn't know that, by the way.
Yeah, and we continue to grow that through the Consulate Corps, which does a great job. But one of the things that was important with FIFA, with Ryder, and with Apple was that I interviewed with the main members of those businesses, the ones that were designated to have to consider whether they moved to the city of Miami, City of Coral Gables, or any other area of Miami-Dade County. And the intent was, and the simple effort was, we stood there, I pitched why the City Beautiful is the best place for their employees. We're 5 minutes away from the airport. We have 2 metro rail stops. We have the University of Miami. We have a robust downtown that is clean, where we have police, we have firefighters, where we have, thousands, tens of thousands of people who come to our city every single day to conduct business, to enjoy our world-class restaurants. You can golf in our city. You have multiple different hotels where your client can stay, feel safe, feel welcome. We're the City Beautiful. We offer a little bit for everybody. And at the end of the day, we were fortunate enough to have Ryder, Apple, and FIFA, call the City of Coral Gables home.
That's huge.
And that is a big feather in our cap, and I must be honest with you, because it's not only about the companies, but more importantly, it's about the people that are moving here to join our community. The people that are coming to the restaurants, that are shopping in our city, the people that are spending their hard-earned dollars, that are part of those great companies that are coming here and that are, bringing the lifeblood to our downtown. Yeah. Let me remind people, and this is something that's important. The reason the City of Coral Gables has the second lowest millage rate, tax rate for a full-service city in Miami-Dade County is because our downtown, when you combine the commercial areas and the apartments in our downtown, that represents 40% of our tax base. So if we don't have a robust downtown, our residents would pay a lot more in taxes. Yep. So when people say, hey, look, there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of this. Listen, our downtown with our trolley, where over 1.3 million people use it every single year for free. Our freebie, our Metro Rail stations, the University of Miami. We swell up during the day from 50,000+ residents to almost 150,000 during the day. Okay? Because the amount of people visiting, the amount of people doing business here, the amount of people coming to work, the amount of people coming to enjoy our city. So our downtown plays a major, major role in ensuring that we're financially viable.
Yeah. So this place, downtown or Coral Gables, has turned into like a foodie haven.
Yep.
Okay. And I know you're always on the streets. We see you. One thing that Manny and I talk about all the time, what we love about the city of Coral Gables, is when we walk down to go to these restaurants, everyone says hello to each other. People that we don't,
of course.
Wow. It's I feel like it's a small town in a big city, right? But you being out there, boots on the grounds every day, what is your top 3 restaurants?
Listen, I eat in our downtown every day. Because I have clients.
Tough question.
Because I'm meeting with you guys, or I'm meeting with friends who, have had a long day and they want to come and, grab a bite to eat. But we're blessed with amazing restaurants.
Yep.
And every single day, it feels like something new is coming.
100%.
There's major, major, major restaurants that have come here. But if I have to give you my bread and butter, I'm going to give you, I love Fiola.
That's number 1?
For a fine dining experience, I think Fiola's incredible.
Okay, I agree.
It's world class. The atmosphere is amazing.
Bueno, he saw Jeff Bezos there.
Yeah, and the food quality is great. If you want to eat something every day that is healthy, I see a lot of my friends there. Banana Berry or Sucre is a great experience. Sucre is right next to City Hall, and Banana Berry is maybe 3 blocks away. Healthy lunch, dinner, breakfast. It's amazing.
Old Faithful.
And before I hit Old Faithful, I want to give you a breakfast spot that you're going to try.
That's good.
You got to come and try Bashur.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet. Sure. And I've seen their videos go viral.
Bashur has the number 1 pastry chef in the world, multiple years. The breakfast and brunch experience there is amazing. So I recommend that people go and try it. I had breakfast there today with a client early in the morning. They open really, really early, which is good. That's good. Especially in my industry. And the final one that I think is something that, again, has always been on the list, like Manny was saying, is Old Faithful. Abrachi. We celebrated 35 years of Abrachi last month. Nino passed away. We were honored enough to name the street in front of Abrachi after Nino. His 2 daughters are amazing, brilliant young women. As a father of 2 young girls, it prides me to see these young ladies, and I can say that.
No,
he raised 2 strong.
He really raised them in that restaurant. I can attest to that. They were always there.
Yeah, 2 girls. Strong. They have to be probably in their early 20s, and they're running that restaurant with the help of the existing staff that continues to be there and be very loyal to Nino's family.
To Loni and to Eduardo.
Yes, they're the best. But again, you go in there and it's like home, home cooked meal. And
what's your go-to dish? I know that if you're gonna ask for bread, pan a lo Manny.
But I really enjoy the pescado de cartucho.
Yeah,
the fish in the little bag, which is amazing. It's something that's healthy. It comes with vegetables.
Well, I'll go the unhealthy route. Chicken parmesan.
And those shrimps, those big shrimps.
And the chicken francais. The shrimp francais.
By the way, if you have the chicken parmesan at Fiola, trust me, it's amazing too.
It is. But listen, all kidding aside with that, in the sense, it's great to know that, but I think that also one of the biggest things that I think that a lot of people love, at least the friends of mine that have moved down here, what have they seen of Coral Gables that they have that they used to see in Brickell? Is I think a lot of people, and again, this is not the rivalry with Francis because we asked this to Francis, but Francis even said, listen, I admit there's a lot of people that have left the Brickell area for the Gables area. Yeah. And it's a sense that the Gables area, for me, it's a place to work, live, and dine, and play. You have your shops, you have everything. Even though Brickell has it too, and I'm not knocking Brickell. I love Brickell. I just couldn't. The Brickell thing, the streets, everything, the crossing, it's just, it's parking is a mission. I've seen so many people moving to the Gables area, and I guess that's also answered another question that we had got, like why so many apartment buildings are in the Gables now and stuff like that. And I think that really, I want you to answer that, but I think that really answers that question, and because the Gables has really become, to your point, one of those hubs that a lot of people are moving into and living with their families here in the Gables now. So big families.
Yeah, so I think what's happening is, and you're seeing it across the board, are issues where, for example, people, now where there's a lot of congestion in Miami-Dade County, and we don't have an adequate transportation plan to really address these issues. And that's a conversation.
It's a long
That's a long conversation.
We're going to put everybody in there.
And we got to put everybody in the room. And it's some
Dade County mayor.
And it's billions and billions and billions of dollars, which again, is really driven through the TPO and the Miami-Dade County Commission. But to Manny's point, people are tired of driving an hour and a half to work, 2 hours to work. So you're seeing a lot of people who used to, have their offices in Brickell, who live, let's say, for example, in Pinecrest, or live in West Miami, or live in South Miami, or live in Coral Gables, in Coconut Grove, say, listen, I'm gonna move my offices, my engineering, my law office, my accounting, my marketing, my public relations, whatever offices that you have, they're moving it to the City Beautiful. They're moving it to Coral Gables, or they're moving it to, for example, South Miami or Coconut Grove. We just happen to be a much larger, more robust downtown that has, a pretty significant footprint, which is something that when you talk about large international or national companies, that's what they're looking for.
Correct.
Look at the success of the Agave, for example. The Agave project,
It's huge.
that project is sold out. You can't find office space there. And when you look at places like for the Colonnade, and you look at places, other buildings that were built or existing buildings that are historic, they're full. They're full to capacity. It's something that has benefited all the different buildings here in the City Beautiful. So people are looking to be able to drive within 5 or 10 minutes from where they live. They're looking for a safe atmosphere. They're looking to be near to their children's school.
Yep.
So
That's extremely important right now, having good schools.
it's a major issue right now.
Great schools.
We have great schools, but the issue is that we need more.
Yeah.
And we have to transition.
Especially
And we have
all these Fortune 500 companies moving over here, their families.
We have to transition to and replicate what you're seeing, for example, in New York. I'm looking forward to somebody making an investment and saying we want to do a vertical school.
Yeah.
Something which I built. My firm over the last 25 years
I love that.
has built over 150 schools throughout South Florida, and we've built vertical schools in the city of Miami. But I think that's something that's coming to the downtown Coral Gables because there's an opportunity for that. With rooftop playing fields and different
Something
things.
like a charter. I would love
like
that.
a charter school or a private
charter
school.
school,
But I mean that is something where at the end of the day, if we're gonna continue to grow as a planned community, because that's what sets us apart from every other community in Miami-Dade County and in the state of Florida. We were the first planned community, thanks to George Merrick, to really take off. He planned the entrance features, the parks, where's City Hall. That was all done before he started selling lots.
Wow.
And that's what sets us apart from every other community. But if we're going to continue to grow, we have to be, really decisive in regards to being able to provide the necessary education, quality education, for people to say, if I'm going to move to Miami-Dade County to move my business or to move my family, you got to find an opportunity for them to be able to have the proper education.
And before we leave on that one, but you said something important, which I remember we got this question as well, which, okay, we're building, but are we putting greenery?
So that's something I'm happy you mentioned that, because that's something that's very, very important to me. I wrote a piece of legislation that added a 0.5, 0.5% into every single permit. And that goes into a Parks Master Trust fund, which hopefully over the next 10 years will have over $20 million in it. And the intent of that fee is to be able to buy private pieces of land and make them into public parks. We've already bought over 10 in the neighborhoods. And what we're doing with that is there are little pocket parks, everything from 5,000 square feet to 25,000 square feet. And one of the other things that I've been doing is now I've been negotiating with developers. So as they're going to build their project in the downtown, they're going to build it anyways as per the code.
Yeah.
I asked them for incentives, and I'll give you some examples. For example, Publix, I helped them with that project over 4 years to design that project.
They're redoing that Publix?
They're redoing that Publix on Andalusia.
The one where here?
Yeah, on Andalusia. Yeah. But you know the great part about it is that I negotiated with them a 20,000 square foot park on the edge of Publix. So where the back of houses now in Publix, you're going to have a 20,000 square foot park there, which is going to be deeded to the city. A block away, where Armando Molina and Manny Alfonso are building their rental project in front of Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
I was able to negotiate the corner lot, which is a 10,000 square foot piece of property, which used to be the used car lot for Mercedes-Benz. That's going to be a park also.
That's amazing.
And then I'm in the process of doing another similar venture with another developer in the downtown, which will be a 15,000 square foot lot. So the goal is to, for the first time ever, is to have multiple different parks in the downtown, so that, again, if you want to lower, for example, the heat island effect, if you want to make our streets safer, cleaner, more beautiful, if you want to slow traffic down, it's been proven, plant trees. One of the things that we pride ourselves here in the city of Coral Gables is that we have the most parks per capita. The fact that we have more trees than anyone else in our swales.
But I want to ask you a question. That's one of the questions. You guys in the city has some of these beautiful trees, very well trimmed and taken care of. For those people who don't know, those things are protected. How old are they? What type of trees are those?
So by laws here in the city, you're not allowed to cut down a tree in the swale because the swale is city property.
Gotcha.
You're just tasked as a city owner, as an owner, to make sure you maintain your swale. But we're very protective of our tree canopy. We're a Tree City USA 30 plus years running. I think it's about 35 years now. And we and I understand, and as I understand, I mean, listen, it's gorgeous. But if you look at it, if you look at it, and you kind of think about it just for a moment, you think about the correlation between property values, quality of life, and our tree canopy.
Yeah.
So whether you're an environmentalist or not, for example, my house runs 100% on solar for the last 7 years. I drive an electric car. I've been a big proponent of environmental stewardship. But let's say you don't believe in any of that, okay, which is, again, you're entitled to your own belief. But the fact that everybody wants shade, everybody wants a beautiful tree canopy, your property values go up the more trees you have. Yes, it's a lot of work because you got to maintain those trees, and we spend a lot of we spend a lot of money in maintaining our canopy and our tree canopy.
We're good. We're blessed so far.
But I will tell you one thing since you talk about the tree canopy. One of the biggest things affecting our tree canopy is, for example, our overhead lines in association with FP&L.
That is.
But one of the things that I worked on, which I'm very proud of, was over 7 years. I negotiated with FP&L and the previous city manager and the previous city commission, and we negotiated undergrounding 70% of the city. So over a 10-year span, we started 2 years ago. Over a 10-year span, 70% of the city's power lines will be undergrounded at no cost to the residents.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And another part that's important, as you talk about parks, is the underline. So we have 3 miles of the underline in the Metro Rail, underneath the Metro Rail, which is on Ponce León in front of University of Miami. I worked with my colleagues in the commission, the previous colleagues in the commission, over 6 to 7 years to fund the underline. And by the way, it's not coming from tax revenue. It's coming from impact fees from projects that are proposed and built within 1,000 feet of the underline.
Oh, wow.
So I found a mechanism to pay for $7 million of the underline, which is going to bring increased property values. People are going to use the underline instead of it just being a desolate area now. It's going to be something inviting that's going to beautify our community. And those are certain highlights and that I believe, in my opinion, are some of the great things that we've been able to do while my time here in
Listen, I'm all for the thing of all the wires are made, bro.
So that's huge. Redundancy, beautification.
I wish South Miami could hear this podcast because I just have a little blow like that in my house, and I have electricity.
Listen, one question that I get a lot. I know that you got to go soon. One question that I get a lot is, what is going on with the Ponce Park? What is the status of it? What's going on?
Okay.
Like, because everyone's waiting for it. There's like an appetite for it to be done already.
So that's a great question. And right now, Agave Holdings has committed millions of dollars to the renovation of that property, which is a signature piece of property here in the city of Coral Gables. But it's always been an issue because of accessibility. It's been the area. Sure. It's always been great for special events.
Yeah.
But the issue has always been, how do you get there, especially with young families? But now Alan Morris, after many tries, he proffered a great project which received the 5-0 support from the commission, significantly reducing the height. But I was able to negotiate with their attorney a few $1 million to finalize the necessary capital that we needed to renovate Ponce Circle Park.
Gotcha.
So that's an important, as you mentioned, South Miami. Their lawyer was Javi Fernandez, who is the mayor of South Miami, who's the new mayor of South Miami, is doing a great job. And they also have Chip Iglesias, who's their city manager, who's a very, very well-prepared city manager who has years and years and years of service in Miami-Dade County. So Ponce Circle Park is ready to start.
Got you. I was going to say, start.
And it's going to be, I don't have an exact date, but it's going to be a transformational project for the downtown.
More or less, when do you think that'll be like? When do you
Maybe for
expect
next
to finish
year.
it?
I'm thinking, finish it next year.
Yeah.
But I think we'll start before the year, the year ends.
Finish it in 1 year?
I think
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
No, because projects here in this City of Miami and other places take years and years.
It takes time, but we're pushing. We know the importance of that.
Mayor, so we had another question that came in through our Instagram that we put our little things there and we asked our question. Again, I know I started with the fact that what the hell is going on with the city of Coral Gables with all this turmoil and all this bunch of stuff. Now the latest one that I got was that we just got
what's going on with the Inspector General.
Right. Why are we looking at Inspector Generals now in the city of Coral Gables?
Well, listen, like I mentioned, there was a new day in the last election about a year and a half ago. And since that moment, there's been, the drumbeat of corruption in the city of Coral Gables. I've had my colleagues in the commission make very ambiguous statements that have been pointing the finger at me because of my private sector engagement. So I was very clear. I said, listen, if you think that there's an issue here, Ariel Fernandez brought up the fact that there was P card malfeasance with employee P cards. I said, let's do an entire audit of the P cards. That was found to be a non-issue by our finance director, which said it in the middle of a commission meeting. So, by the way, the commissioners don't have any P cards. We don't have any money to spend at the end of the day. And as a matter of fact, I actually tried on the commission floor to give back my raise along with Vice Mayor Ron Anderson, but my 3 colleagues in the commission forced me to take the raise. Wow. I even said I wanted.
That's the first I ever heard.
I even tried to say. I said why don't we split Vice Mayor Anderson's raise and my raise, which is $100,000, and we split it amongst the 5 of us and we give it to charity. And they said, no, you got to take it home with you. There's no splitting of that. But getting back to your question about the Inspector General. So obviously, in an effort to always be transparent and clear, I said, I'm ready. Let's put forth an Inspector General. I brought the legislation forward along with the Vice Mayor, Ron Anderson, at the last commission meeting, and my colleagues voted 3-2 against having an Inspector General. We worked with the county, seeing we could piggyback off the county's Inspector General.
Yeah, I know the county has one.
And I requested an audit, of all city finances to see, where's the malfeasance, where are we having issues in regards to corruption. That was also voted down.
That is crazy.
So the whole issue, the reason why it's important that you bring that up is because, again, this is politics. And what you have here, which has never happened in the city before, you have the weaponization of a few blogs and a few individuals in the social media scene who are paid. It's a pay for play effort
let it be known here though, nobody's being.
No.
This is an invitee guest,
self-funded
podcast.
So it's a pay for play effort,
yes,
in an effort to tarnish people's reputations. The unions, Miami-Dade County Fire Union and the City of Coral Gables Fire Union are mainly behind this effort. And what they do is they pay blogs, for example, like Polito Cortadito. They pay Gables Insider. Then they'll go and they'll weaponize somebody like William Cohen. You know William Cohen? Billy Corbin.
I'll be here next week.
Yeah, so you can tell them that I said hello. And they'll weaponize, pay them to go out and put all this information out there and basically attack people. And they attack and attack and they attack.
Well,
and at the end of the day,
that's normal
the effort. The effort is again to destroy people's character to destroy who they are and call into question. But there's never a formal response on these issues.
But the crazy stuff that I see, that I know, is that they mounted a huge effort to recall you.
100%. And it failed.
You beat it.
Yeah, of course.
And there was a viral video of a community member, an old gentleman, that had people canvassing on his door, talking about if they wanted to sign a petition, I guess, to come and recall you. Mm-hmm. And he just went off on them and saying, what you're saying is not true. Yeah. And he ardently defended you.
So you had these individuals that were paid again. You had 2 people who were mainly they were the faces of this recall, Maria Cruz and David Winker, an attorney in this community. And they never wanted to divulge who were their financial supporters. But they were out there. They had paid canvassers, which is illegal by the state of Florida. They had propaganda. They had T-shirts. They put out text messages about me. In an effort to recall me. They failed. And they were out there saying incredibly insane things that I stole $35 million from the city. And again,
I think we would know if you stole $35 million.
Trust me, I wouldn't be here if I stole $35 million from the city. But my point is, and that, that I was doing illegal things. These are people that have no mercy. They're mercenaries.
Yeah.
And they don't take into account people's families. And they go out there, they make statements, and I've had people come up to me and tell me, hey, Vince, I heard this about you. And I said, listen, at the end of the day, all I can do is try to continue serving on behalf of this community. But that's why people don't run for public office. That's why you get the same recycled candidates over and over and over again. And why people like myself, who own multiple different businesses, who have dozens and dozens of employees, I got to make payroll every other Friday, decide at one point, listen, I don't want to serve anymore, or I don't even want to serve. because I don't want to put myself in a position where somebody's going to go out there and say a lie about me.
No.
And my daughter, for example, I'll give you an example. My 2 daughters in school, they've had their friends walk up to them and say, hey, listen, I read an article about your father in a blog.
That is incredible.
And they said that your father is corrupt or your father's going to get arrested. And there's never a response. There's never a formal response. It's always las malas lenguas or I hear this. And then, for example, let me give you a clear example. They said that I own property in Little Gables. They said that my brother was a lobbyist representing somebody, a property owner in Little Gables. They sent complaints to the Commission on Ethics. Those complaints materialized into an inquiry. They went and spoke on the radio saying that I was under investigation, which was false.
Yeah.
That resulted in me spending over $40,000 in lawyers representing myself in the Commission on Ethics. And I was vindicated on the Commission on Ethics saying Vince Lago never owned a piece of property. They interviewed me, they deposed people around me, my family, my business partners, my brother, that Vince Lago has never owned property in Little Gables and that Carlos Lago does not represent anybody in Little Gables. But this was perpetuated by Ariel Fernandez on a radio station. And that radio station, Actualidad Radio, is now we're locking horns.
Yeah.
We're locking horns legally because you just can't go out there and defame somebody. You can't lie about somebody and say something that ends up costing them money. It was a 9-month ordeal. And in those 9 months, the blogs, along with other individuals, they rolled with it. Yep. They steamroll your character. They steamroll, but it's not. But it's not news.
I know, but I'm saying they pick it up as news.
That's the fake news.
It's the fake news. So the whole point is it's the fake news.
Yeah.
But I think we've always been better than that.
Yeah,
we've always been better,
especially here in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my goal is to continue to elevate above that.
But that's
to
what
continue to
I
serve.
was going to ask you. Me and Manny talk about this all the time. Like, the ramifications of getting into politics. Why do you do it? I mean, I've had aspirations to get into it. He tells me don't get into that mess. Tell us how you got into it. Why do you continue?
I don't tell you not to get into it. I tell you that I was always in it. You gotta really love what you do, and you really have to have thick skin
Yep.
in order to do that. You're seeing it firsthand here. You're seeing it firsthand with whoever is running in that. You have to have the liability. You have to know what you're getting into. You know what you're going to get your family into. You really have to love what you do. I started this podcast with the sense that how and why is the city now all of a sudden in all these articles that never existed in the city of Coral Gables. And then we invited him so he can explain the situation.
Just a lot of questions.
You know? And at the same time, what he's explaining to you is that now we're in a different level, I guess, in the city of Coral Gables. It's been like Atlantis has been discovered. Now everybody wants a little bit of the Gables, and now all this is happening. But at the same time, where I go back to where everything is, there has to be accountability. And the accountability has to come from the residents of Coral Gables.
Yeah.
And as it is in the residents of where I live in South Miami, or you live in Key Biscayne, or you live in Palmetto, or if you live in Dade County, you started and you ended at that. Where does it go? In the ballot box.
100%.
So I blame the residents.
Yeah.
If you have a bad apple there, is because either you voted for that bad apple, you have the opportunity to know now that bad apple is bad, and you have the opportunity now to vote against that bad apple.
By the way, if I may, there's an election next April.
That's what I was going to say. You're running for re-election.
So right now you have three referendums that are gathering signatures.
Is that coming up now, or is that going up in April?
No. They're gathering the signatures to put it for a vote by the residents. The right way of doing things. So that's being dealt with right now. In April, you have an election. Three people are up for election. Myself, Vice Mayor Rhonda Anderson, and Kirk Menendez, and he's currently has opposition by a gentleman by the name of Richard Lara. Elections here are the deciding opportunity for people in this 100%. Community to make change. If you're happy with people raising their own salaries by 102%, if you oppose, if you have elected officials who are stating that there is corruption here in the city, but then openly oppose an IG, then you have your answer. If you have people who openly oppose a November election because, as they said in their own words, we want quality voters, not quantity. In my opinion, and the opinion of many, every vote is quality.
100%. Every vote
living it.
So, and by the way, and it also saves the city $200,000 a year. If you're talking about firing a very competent city manager and hiring a city manager out of the grandstands without even a background check, if those are the kind of activities, if you oppose lowering taxes, you have your options. Your options are clear.
Yeah.
You're clear. They're right there. But what happens is, and this is why I'm being so very candid in this podcast, because people get caught up on, a text message, or people get caught up on somebody's social media where they go out there and they're paid. These people are paid. They're mercenaries. The blogs are mercenaries. They're out there
effective.
They're out there being paid to tarnish someone's reputation. I've spoken to people that I've met, and after an hour conversation, they've told me, Vince, I read these things about you on a blog. I can't believe that I can't believe you're completely different, or that all that is untrue. So what I'm seeing happening right now, and you can see it, is that people are being exposed to the truth. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about Open Door Fridays. I have so many people who come and visit me for the first time on a Friday and say, man, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for helping me with the issue. And sometimes I can't even help them. Sometimes I got to tell them the truth. Hey, I can't help you.
You got the time.
But the honesty and the fact that we're able to share that moment, and we're able to have a moment of clarity, and they know that I will face any individual and any issue face to face, and I will always vote my conscience on behalf of the city and its residents and the business community. At the end of the day, when my days as an elected official are over, I promise you that I walk away with dignity, with respect, knowing that I did my best on behalf of the city.
Yeah.
Knowing that I did my best, that I always put the residents first, and I'm not worried about what people think about me or what they say about me, except for my wife and my 2 daughters and my family, my friends. Because at the end of the day, people are always going to have an opinion until they meet you. And if you get your news from blogs and from people who are paid to misinform, then you should find a reputable source instead of that.
Listen, it's not to compare anything to that, but what you said is so funny, because it's like when you read a review of a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? You have paid reviews and you have non-reviews. So then some people will say, "Oh, that sucks. I don't like that." I always say you have to go try the place. Yeah. You got to go try. You got to go try the restaurant. You have to go and try the restaurant and see if you really liked it or not like it. You can't go by a review, because what you like, maybe the other person doesn't like, and what that person like, maybe you don't like. So it's not to compare it to politics, but really it's the same. You have to try the person. You have to see, do you like what you did? No, I don't like what you did. Okay, then don't vote for me.
Listen,
you like what I did?
You don't think? Let me say, you don't think that I know that as a result of the things that I've said on this podcast, people are gonna cut and snip it, and they're gonna send it out, and they're gonna say horrific things. But at the end of the day, I lose zero sleep over that, zero, because it is what it is. People make a living. People make a living destroying other people, and they're the ones that have to walk away and sleep with that on their conscience.
Yeah.
Some of them sleep very well.
With a lot of money.
They take a pill.
So you are running for re-election?
I'm running for re-election.
Have another podcast with you?
I would love that.
I would love that. I think there's a lot of questions here that were not answered. I think we're running out of time right now, but I think we got to have you back.
Maybe we can have a day in Miami debate.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be nice.
You know, why
you have no opposition right now.
No, but I will eventually. Obviously, it's they will they'll put somebody running.
And Richard Lara?
Richard Lara is an incredible.
I want to bring him on.
You got to bring him on. Incredibly competent resident who is serves at the pleasure of the commission.
Why?
Yeah. Why are you gonna get into
He wants to give back. He wants to give back, and this is an opportunity. It's all about leaving a legacy and leaving a positive mark on the city.
Well, listen, I praise.
A great job, at least for me.
I praise anybody. You could be independent, Democrat, Republican, whatever you are, left, right, middle. I praise anybody who wants to get into politics. I always say,
the only thing I didn't like that he did was he said, I'm not allowed to ride the scooters anymore in Coral Gables.
No, you can. You just can't ride them on the sidewalk. You got to ride them on the street.
Which makes sense, because I've seen people hit people.
That's going to be another podcast, because I'm totally against that. I'm totally against that.
Vince,
but anyway, thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's a pleasure.